Warrior, let's talk about it. I have to. I want to fill you in what happened in Washington this week. One of the biggest things to happen that not too many people are talking about. You see my visual aid I'm about to show you. My globe, all the different countries on it. Am I corny? Maybe a little bit. I don't care. You know what's happening across this globe? In every single spot, every single country, every single continent is human trafficking, slavery, the enslavement of people. Now, at the Warriors, we concentrate right here in the United States, but there's a lot of tentacles. It is one big web, tangled web of horror, right? But there's a lot of good work being done. I always want to bring you hope as well, because I can tell you in the last couple of months, terrific things coming out of Washington and across our great nation. I wanted to point that out with my dollar store globe that actually I bought for my husband one time, because many of these servers, for instance, are in Nigeria, where they do all of this sextortion to our American kids, particularly our teenage boys. It's like a warehouse. I used to say desks, but it's just tables and tables with computers. But not only are they doing it to scam Americans make money, they've also trafficked people who are doing those scams. And that goes for other phone scams as well, or online scams. A lot of those people we're finding out are actually trafficked victims, forced into this. I've even heard stories of chained to chairs, chained to tables, working until they fall over 20 hours a day. No bathroom breaks, no food. So that's going on in other countries. You know what? Probably going on in our country too. We just don't talk about it. Like many things with the exploitation of people, we don't talk about it, I think, enough. Okay? Yeah, there's a lot of chatter about different things, but what really trickles down, I have this conversation every day, whether it's here in New York or in Washington, what really trickles down to help a victim, a survivor, a family, right? That's the work we do at the Warriors. Now, I wanted to tell you about the most important thing that happened this week. Our great colleagues at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C., released their annual Dirty Dozen List 2025. And I want to tell you why I am so thrilled with this, a word I don't use around slavery. I am thrilled because in the last few months I've been pushing hard. None of this work, advocacy, protesting, bipartisan legislation, nothing's going to work if we have this Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Born in 1996, almost 30 years ago. I've been talking about it now for, the last few months. This piece of legislation says that big tech platforms, and remember in 1996, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, go back there. We didn't have all these Facebooks and X and Snap and YouTube and TikTok. We had none of that. We had the AOL and something else. That's all we had in 1996, the beginning of the internet. So, rightfully so, this Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act said, you know what? Let's give the platforms at the time, we can't let them be held responsible for some, crazy people perhaps who write things or use it incorrectly. So we'll give them blanket immunity. Blanket immunity, keywords. Fast forward 30 years later, nothing's been changed with that law. It's never been amended and nothing. And you know what's gone on in the last 30 years with the internet, especially the last decade. Apps and platforms are popping up every single day. At least apps, we can't keep ahead of them. And they still are granted blanket immunity. Well, the Dirty Dozen List 2025 is ending that. Because instead of picking 12 mainstream entities like they've done since 2013, entities such as where they've had major success, the Defense Department, Hilton Hotels Worldwide, Netflix, you name it, apps like Omegle, I think it even went out of bed. It doesn't even exist anymore. They will target them and then get all the advocates to talk about it on their platforms. We've been a strong supporter of the Dirty Dozen list every single year. But this year, there is only one perpetrator. You guessed it. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, times 12. Now I say times 12 because it's an annual campaign, a dozen eggs, Dirty Dozen list, right? 12 stories that I'm going to direct you to do your Warriors homework. 12 stories of children, of people that have been abused and more because Section 230 protects these platforms and these apps. So I'm directing everybody to go to dirtydozenlist.com. Take your time, 12 different stories, right, of victims. And a warning I throw out there, because this is hard to take, some of these stories about kids. For instance, a boy who did report to X, that was his nude image. He did go to his parents, who then reported it to X, at the time Twitter, that he was underage. They gave proof of being underage, and Twitter still said does not violate our community standards. Now, I don't know about you, but it certainly does. Therefore, there's a lawsuit going on right now. But right now, I am happy to say there is a bipartisan bill by Senators Lindsey Graham and Senator Dick Durbin, and they would like to sunset it, abolish. At least there's talk about it in Washington. Why this piece of antiquated legislation has not been amended over the years, your guess is as good as mine, except it always comes down to one thing. That's my attempt at a $sign in the air. But you see how harmful this is? So we have to talk about it. We have to talk to our kids. You have to know what's going on. So again, your homework is dirtydozenlist.com. Great work coming out of this the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Great partners of the Warriors, really doing terrific work that helps us at the Warriors do our job. But I want you to also take your time. Again, warning, some of these stories are tough to read, but it's the reality. We have to talk about the reality going on right now in the United States. You have to know in Nigeria, they've got warehouses of men chained to tables and desks. We don't know the numbers. Many of them are actually victims themselves, trafficked and forced into doing these scams online, right? So we have to now start touching upon what's going on a little bit in other countries that directly affects America. We also know with a lot of our CSAM, child sexual abuse material, those servers are in other faraway places, right? But I want you to do one thing for the Warriors. With the Dirty Dozen list this year, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, there are different buttons. The work is all done for you, where you enter, for instance, your name and zip code. And this will go to your direct elected representative. You don't have to do any of the work. It's all there for you. That's the part we need you to do, because numbers count. Eyeballs count. When we bring forth this movement, Section 230, got to do something about it, and they see across the country from every different state that people understand this and they want to change, because children in particular, all people, but children are being harmed at unfathomable, heights. I don't know how else to put it. And this is something we can all get on board with, because as all this dissension and all this arguing and Tesla's going on and this and that, the important thing, the children, our future adults, our future leaders. So again, dirtydozenlist.com. You've got a little homework. I want you all to go take care of this, help the Warriors out. A reminder to always go on our website, also lynswarriors.org, follow along, know what's happening, because knowing what's going on is half the battle. And always a great big thanks from us to you for all of your donations, your volunteering, your sending of goods, everything you do, watching these videos, sharing these videos, joining us when we do our lives. We're doing one later today at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is Saturday. But let's get the information out there. Let's protect our kids. Let us not let the predators win. Please honor our hashtag Community Creates Change. Each and every day, go out and be a warrior. Thank you.